Hi, and welcome to AI for UX. This is a space where UX researchers and product leaders stay current with AI innovations. So I'm John Whalen. I'm the founder of Brilliant Experience, and we're a psychology-driven product innovation firm. So in each installment, we speak with a founder of one of the latest AI-enhanced research tools and dive deep into its inspiration and how it might benefit you, and ultimately where this field of research is headed. And so today I'm very happy to say that I've been joined by Ryan Glasgow. So he's the founder and CEO of Sprig, all-in-one product experience tool. And it allows targeted surveys, replays, and heat maps right inside your app and uses AI to surface the why behind the behavior so product teams can ship smarter, faster. And not only that, it now offers long form interviews as well that I'm sure a lot of our researchers who love things like Qualtrics would love to talk about. So just a quick note, these videos are not product endorsements, and Brilliant always pays full price for any technologies we use, and no one's getting paid. It's just to learn. So let's get started. So thank you so much for being here, and I'm very happy to have you here, Ryan. So thank you.
Thanks for having me, John. Excited to dig in today.
Sure. Well, let's get right to it and talk about Sprig. So, just for you, who is the sort of target audience for Sprig, and what sort of pain points do you feel it addresses the best?
We work with companies that are typically going through that rapid growth phase. So they're quickly growing and they have growing research teams as well. And so companies that have usually an established research team or just getting started with their research team, and they're looking for faster insights. And so that's where we come in and really replace a lot of the traditional tools that they might be familiar with in past companies. And Sprig is really a more modern research platform that offers both the in-context research, like you mentioned, and also now offering the more traditional out-of-product surveys and more traditional research techniques as well to bring both in-product and out-of-product surveying under a unified survey platform.
Got it. And it's interesting because I feel like a lot of our product people, of course, know you really well, and I think some of our researchers don't always know you as well. So, when are typical scenarios when I might use Sprig as a product team or as a researcher?
Yeah, it's exciting that we actually our largest user is the product manager, and my background's in
Mhm.
product management as well, because I was at one point at a tech company that had a research team and was looking as a consumer of research insights for faster insights that were more in context for the product iterations that I was working on. And so Sprig is really a pain point that I experienced as a product manager working with research teams, and it's now really exciting to be working with research teams as really our primary users and primary teams that will purchase our platform, but then they'll bring in their product management and design partners at their companies and give them view access to the Sprig Insights and really have those stakeholders consume the data within the Sprig platform. And so we certainly have, wide adoption and visibility to the broader product management and design community because many of them are consuming the Sprig Insights, where with the research team, it is a smaller number of people,
Mhm.
but they're often the ones administering and really running the research with the Sprig platform.
Got it. And just for people who haven't tried as much, what's so I can have some quick surveys or things within my product, even if I use something like SurveyMonkey. So what makes and I think there are many things, so maybe you can pick a few of what makes Sprig sort of unique or better than other options.
We primarily compete against more traditional survey platforms like Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey or Medallia. And all three of those, companies were started over 25 years ago now. And Sprig is really approaching things from a modern, angle. And so we started in, 2019, 2020, and my co-founder actually is our head of AI. And so we are very early in the field of adopting AI. And one of the key differentiators with Spring is how we've integrated AI into all three parts of the survey process. We have AI to create surveys and really accelerate that creation process. We also have AI to analyze open text data and analyze survey data and really extract insights. And we also have AI for synthesis to really build and make recommendations on how you can build a better product and user experience from the research data. And we see AI is really assisting research teams on their work, not replacing research teams, and allowing the research teams to have a bigger impact with the teams that they work with at their organizations. And so AI is really an accelerant and enabler to allow them to do great things and really touch more decisions with the research that they're working on.
I teach a class on AI for customer research, and I meet a lot of folks that just haven't been exposed to trying AI tools in their research and are nervous or other things, just learning. And so, how should researchers or product people think about working with a tool like yours, and sort of ultimately how would they work differently because they've got Sprig as opposed to not having the AI support that you've got and other things?
So when I was a product manager before starting the company, I saw researchers spending sometimes 1 to even 3 weeks manually analyzing open text, survey
Yeah.
data.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the key areas we really focused on in the early days is that in 2019, 2020, there was really a word cloud and it looked for literal string matching where if you said price and I said price, it identified those as a match. But if you said price and I said cost, it actually identified those as different, parts of the word cloud. And so one of the key innovations that we've actually had successfully patented is our open text analysis, and it recreates the same motion of researchers because we really trained it on how researchers think about open text data by really looking at all the open text data and creating groups and clusters once it's sifted through all the open text data. Even if there are different words or phrases being used, it can look at the intent of the respondent, group those into themes, and then once it's done all the clustering, it then writes a summary of each of the clusters. And so that's a key way that I think with researchers, we really encourage them, whether you want to try that with OpenAI or you want to try that with ChatGPT or with tools like Claude on your own. But it's so powerful to have it integrated right into the platform because A, it's real time, and B, you can then invite product managers and designers into the conversation to really view and analyze the results on their own and really have decisions as more of a collaborative process instead of a deck that's delivered, in a meeting that's really static. And so bringing in
Mm-hmm.
cross-functional teams to look at the open text data, to look at the survey AI insights together, and really have it as a starting point of conversation is very powerful. And where we really encourage teams that are just getting started with AI to accelerate their work to start there. I think the second area is really around the survey creation process.
Mm-hmm.
And so making sure that you're writing questions that, are well formed, but also thinking about just new ideas and new ways to capture users' sentiment based on different use cases. And so we're seeing a lot of interesting ways that customers are, the types of questions they're asking, the frameworks they're using, the research metrics that they're now collecting for the first time, moving beyond CSAT and NPS to more advanced ways and techniques to measure user sentiment over longer periods of time. And so AI can really also provide best practices, given that we do train it on other surveys that our customers are running. And it's really going to be someone who's going to really help you get to a better, launched survey by bringing in not only the expertise of, survey design, but also thinking about other best practices and emerging use cases that you might not be familiar with. So that's a second area.
Mm-hmm.
The third area that's more emerging is really having AI interact with the end survey respondent. And so having more dynamic questions, more having dynamic experiences. And we're seeing that emerge more as a market research use case and still has not really fully formed for the customer research, given that many research teams are more sensitive about deploying AI directly with their customers because of the risks that are involved with dynamic questions and a dynamic experience. But certainly something that, we're looking at and evaluating, but not an area that we typically recommend research teams to start with.
Got it. No, it's a really thoughtful, comprehensive answer. So thank you. And I actually have a couple questions related to that just before we go to actually, I know everyone want to see what you're talking about. But
Mm,
one thing that I think you mentioned was, so first of all, folks are sometimes worried about hallucinations and things like that. So if I'm right, you mentioned that, yeah, if there's a summary, there are sort of source uh, like the responses or video or so on that you can get directly to. I guess how do you try to address bias without getting too technical, but really
mm.
trying to avoid hallucinations and just get to the facts that you're getting.
Yes, and so it is some of our secret sauce. I won't go into too much technical detail, but we do have ways for the AI to recursively evaluate its own answers. And that's been an incredibly powerful way to really do prompt chaining and have the AI really verify what it's actually providing our customers. And it's something that, has been very effective in reducing the hallucination rate and increasing the accuracy of the AI analysis as well as the AI synthesis. The second thing that we do is we are big believers in having human expert human researchers to really review and spot check and tune our model. And so that is, we do have folks behind the scenes on our team that are reviewing and making sure that and measuring our hallucination rate to really make sure that our customers can trust the insights and that we're delivering to them and feel confident in making, a decision that might impact an organization. And so that trust is really critical given that we typically work with many of the largest brands in the world.
Right. My last question about that was you had mentioned training your survey generators on other surveys that have been using the Sprig platform, and I just wanted to be clear. I think I understand what you're saying, but I've had some folks come to me as they're starting the journey in AI with research and said, well, the tool isn't going essentially, Coke's data isn't going to train Pepsi in the reverse, is it? So I just want to say that I'm sure you have walls between folks' data, and this is different. This is about training it to be better at survey production.
Yes. Yeah. Our license agreement actually has our customers, they
I'm
own
sure.
all of the data that they collect with Sprig and all the results is their ownership and we license it from them. And we do make sure that that is fully protected between our customers. I think the area that we have been looking at sharing best practices is more around the question design.
Hmm.
And that's something that we've been looking at how we can share best practices, given that that's not considered proprietary because it is something that is publicly available and viewable to, in many cases, millions of end users. I just got a Sprig survey in one of our customer
Yeah.
accounts, Figma, last week. And so
Hmm.
something that is customers consider non-proprietary,
Right.
but the results certainly, there's no data sharing or training with those results at all.
Right. Does not surprise me in the least, but I just wanted to clarify for folks who might
Thank
be
you.
thinking
Yes.
otherwise. Well, I think it'd be great at this time if we could go ahead and have you share a screen and we could try and just share a little bit of a flow that you might have to show us how this all works.
Yes.
Very cool.
And let me just pull up my screen here.
Wonderful. And maybe while you're doing that, maybe you can set the stage for what we're going to see here. What is the sort of where are we and what's the sort of flow you're going to take today?
So one of our key focuses here at Sprig is helping teams build continuous research practices. And we're big believers that research is no longer a world where you can do a survey every quarter or to do a research project once a month, and that you really need to be collecting continuous research insights and customer insights on a daily basis, hourly basis, every second of your product experience to really understand how the changes that are being applied to your product are working. And with AI really accelerating coding and design, we're seeing many of our customers ship on a daily basis. And you want to really measure how those changes are impacting the end user experience for your customer base. And so here at Sprig, the first thing that you see is really our AI generated feed. And this is a chronological feed of AI insights that are being pulled from across all of your session replay, your survey, your heat map, and your feedback data that's been collected across the Sprig platform. And it's telling you exactly what those emerging insights and exactly what you need to know about your user experience. That could be a new insight that just emerged this morning. And so this is really our way to shift teams from non-continuous, more periodic research to more continuous research. And when they log in on a daily basis, they can really see what users are thinking and how they're feeling about their overall product experience and insights to take action. We make it really easy here to launch any of these studies. And so you can click New Study. And this is, I talked about using AI for the survey creation process. And so this is a prompt-based AI creator, such as understand reasons for drop-off in the sign-up flow. And it's going to generate three different, surveys purpose-built for me that I can then use as a starting point and really edit and modify to my exact customization and go ahead and launch that survey, usually within 5 minutes. And so our goal is really about helping teams quickly launch studies with AI and also have AI with the analysis, which I'll share in just a second. We do have four study types. Our surveys, which is both in product as well as our long form traditional surveys that you might expect from a Qualtrics or SurveyMonkey. We have feedback modules, session replay, and heat maps. And we also have a set of templates here that we've worked with many of our customers like Coinbase to contribute different templates for what surveys have worked well for them that they are comfortable sharing with other customers. And so, what I can do here is say I want to understand reasons for sign up, let's say onboarding drop off, and click generate ideas. And this is how one example of how we're using AI to accelerate that research process. And so I've got a couple in-product survey examples here. And what I can do is I'm going to say I want to go with this version. Actually, let's go with this version. And I'll click continue. And I've dropped into our survey editor experience. And what's interesting is that, our goal is to make the process as easy as possible, but this is a very advanced survey builder interface with the question types that we offer, with the skip logic that is offered in terms of the groups, in the grouping that we allow. And so it's really an advanced platform, but our goal is to really focus on an intuitive, easy to use experience, both for our customers, but also our customers' customers in that survey taking experience. So what I'll do here, I can launch, let's say, a long form survey. And if I want to, I can push it out to a panel. We'll recommend how many responses to collect. And when I click launch, that survey, it'll provide me that URL. I can now share that survey with my customers. We also have the in-product surveys as well. So these can be deployed in native iOS or native Android apps. If you've used tools like products like Robinhood or Netflix, you might have seen one of our in-product surveys in their products. And when I go to the results here, once that survey is completed, what you'll see here is that we're using AI to summarize the entire survey. This is great for product managers, for researchers to copy and really understand at a high level and share internally, maybe in a product spec about some of what the insights are. And then down below, this is where you're seeing the results for the survey.
Mhm.
And this is really our core initial AI application of open text analysis that we talked about. And so even if there are no overlapping words or phrases, it's still able to group the responses into themes, like really hard to search for anything, or couldn't find what I wanted. And so you're seeing just different words being used. It's still grouped into the same theme, and AI is now summarizing that theme for you. And we've seen customers get over 1 million responses in a single survey. And so you can imagine how powerful it is to have the AI analysis done in real time with 98, 99% accuracy. It really reduces the time to insight and allows teams to take action much faster.
Ryan, real quick, when you were showing some of the examples, I saw, I guess you had the open text, and then to the right of that, it had a watch, and I believe
Mhm.
that's when you can do a little bit of a replay in your in app. Is that what I'm thinking of here, or is that something
Yes,
different? Okay,
that's exactly correct. And one of our goals is to really combine what users are doing with what they think in that moment. And so last year we rolled out session replay, and you can watch what the users are doing in your product experience. And excited have that one pull up and see the mouse movement, the scrolling, the exact user behavior up to 5 minutes before they take the survey. And so I'm running an onboarding survey, and someone gave it a 1 and said, I couldn't figure out how to set up my account. You can click watch next to that survey response and watch that entire onboarding experience as that user's navigating through your product and setup experience for the first time and see exactly what they couldn't figure out and really pair that with their survey response of what they thought in that moment. And so by integrating the two, session replay with the survey data, we see unlocking some powerful insights for our customers by bridging those two together in an integrated experience.
got it. Thank you. No, that's it's really interesting. And you mentioned actually that you felt like the groupings were, or there was a measurement that was, it was like, I think you said 99% accurate groupings.
Mhm.
How did you all derive that, or was it yeah, just trying to learn? I know some of our statistician, quant psychologists always want to know the source. So maybe you could just tell me a little more of how you got there.
Yes, so we have a couple different mechanisms here. The first one is we do rely on our customers to really tell us, and we look at the percentage of,
Mm-hmm.
helpful versus not helpful. The second is that we do have the AI, we have an AI quality system that will self-evaluate its work, like I mentioned, recursively,
Yeah,
and that does it on a regular basis to really evaluate the accuracy retroactively of the analysis that's in front of our customers. The third is that we do have a human review process that reviews a portion of the AI output, and it does score it as well. And they do work with our customers to make sure that we really understand what our customers are looking for. And they are then really helping tune and shape the AI to make sure that we are increasing the accuracy over time. But a part of their role is really measuring where the accuracy is today. And it is something that is subjective. And that's why we'll have a relationship with our customers to make sure we fully understand what they're looking for and that we're delivering on their goals.
got it. Well, here, let me let you continue. I know there's so much sophistication to this, but this is great. Thank you.
The next piece here on the survey level I want to show is really around the synthesis. And so it's not only about collecting data and having analysis of the data, but it's also about taking action on the data. And so this is where AI can really bring and make recommendations that really serve as a conversation point for teams. And so perhaps the navigation or the search bar was difficult to use. That's something that is going to be surfaced as an AI insight that goes beyond really just pure analysis of helping teams understand exactly what to do. So I can go here into the course offerings, and it's actually the AI is providing recommendations of diversifying the course catalog and broadening the range of courses that's going from analysis to recommendations. And so this is where research teams can really take these recommendations and include them as a part of their presentations and as a part of their, output for the stakeholders, not only what the core issue is and what the experience is being perceived as, but also helping form and make recommendations to improve that experience and really help the team meet its overall business objectives. The last
Oh,
piece I did want to wrap up with here, unless you had something you wanted to
oh,
add.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, no, I'm curious about everything. This is great, Ryan. Thank you. I actually, you and I had talked a little bit, and I guess you had mentioned often researchers are bringing the data to life, and rather than having a slide deck or something, are using things like in Sprig itself to present the data. So I was wondering if those were kind of examples of when I would go and show this particular point, and then dive into the source data and just kind of talk it through with the product team.
hmm And so one of our goals is really collaboration. And thinking back to my experience as a product manager, wanting to really see the data and explore the data, we do offer unlimited seats for all of our customers. And so we have some customers with over 1,000 user seats deployed. And it's really exciting to see executive teams, product management, leadership teams, designers, researchers, business analysts, all I've seen CEOs of large corporations logging into Sprig and really seeing the data firsthand, what the users are seeing, what they're thinking about their product experience. And so, how we typically see it work is we'll see product managers and designers have view-only access to consume the data, and then research teams having editor access to be able to deploy the studies and make modifications to the AI titles and descriptions, and really move responses around as necessary or create new themes so that the researchers are really administering and conducting the research, but they're bringing in their stakeholders into the platform to really see firsthand what the users are thinking. And this is elevating research in a way that historically, designers and product managers have really focused on business analytics and product analytics, and really used to consuming research over a deck or maybe a document.
Mm-hmm.
But now we're seeing teams really look at research as even elevated beyond product analytics and something that's more important, more actionable, and a more valuable form of data, knowing that it really helps them figure out how to improve their product, not necessarily how the product is performing today.
Very cool. And I know I need to let you finish, so I'll let you get back on track. But that's really interesting. I'm glad you shared it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
The last thing here that we recently just rolled out is really our AI Explorer. And this is something that we're excited about to look across different surveys and do really cross study analysis. And so here's an example we've already created. It's looking at multiple surveys that have been conducted about the onboarding process. And it's summarizing the overall onboarding process across many different surveys. And then it's providing a list of opportunities for where the issues are in that onboarding experience. And I can click on any of these, let's say a concern about security, and I can look at the underlying response data about this specific theme. So it's giving me the context. I can see who the person is. And that's really allowing me to look across an iOS app, an Android application, maybe an onboarding experience, a new feature that I launched, and look more holistically to understand that experience, but more importantly, learning how we can improve that experience so we can overall deliver a better experience for our customers.
Very nice. And I guess thank you. Here, we can go back to here.
Yeah.
Um, what one quick question I had was often there are situations where I guess, have done actually a series of studies. So there might be interviews from a long time ago, or let's just say surveys from a long time ago in app and so on. And I want to date it to exactly when I started and launched this new feature. I'm guessing that I can window box it with this to make it just that right spot where I need to study.
Yes, we do have those time filters so you can get specific. And that's where it's exciting. If you do a product launch, you can look at maybe a survey that's running continuously. You can look at the data, the period after you made that change and the period before you made that change, and really look at the differences in the research data to see how the users are perceiving it differently.
Sure. I can imagine actually a wide range of folks banging away on that and in view mode as well as the researchers. Very cool. Well,
Mhm.
I wanted to take a quick step back, and I haven't talked about you and your motivation. So I find that I'm not as brave as you, and I haven't launched a product, but it takes so much dedication and determination and fortitude and so on. And so usually there's a real drive behind that. And I just wondered what inspired you to create Sprig for this field.
For me, it's, going back to that product management experience, I always was so focused on the research data. And it was, one of my, a key part of my success of helping four different companies pre-launch, find product market fit, and go on to be successfully acquired. And then going on to Weebly, where I was brought on as the first product manager, helped out the product management team, and wanted to really scale the research program. And we ended up hiring and building out a team of researchers and really seeing the available tools for research is an area that, not only a technique of research that is very, very critical for any company to be successful, but I saw an underserved market in the research community for better tooling and more modern tooling, specifically at the time with the machine learning techniques that were available, of how we can really help researchers and product managers and designers work more collaboratively, but more importantly, deliver insights in a more continuous basis. And so our goal at Sprig is really shifting those teams from the periodic, again, non-continuous to the continuous research, and that's been really one of the driving forces for starting the company and now helping other great brands like the ones that I mentioned shift from non-continuous to continuous research and have a closer pulse of what their customers think as they're improving and driving the products forward.
And it reminded me, there's one thing I did want to ask you about. Really, I would argue that in some cases, researchers sometimes, I don't know, and not fear the product people, but worry that they might not value research enough. And I actually think that, my impression is that you're a proponent, and on your website, for example, it mentions the teams that have larger research teams often are doing the best. And so I just wanted to
Mm.
take a moment to let you express kind of how you view the researcher role and the more broad, working with product teams and where you see that sort of ideal sweet spot with your customers.
Yeah, it's exciting to have a front row view of many of the fastest growing companies, like Notion. And we are seeing that the companies that are really thriving are the ones that are investing in research. And the reason why, from what we're seeing, is they are very, it's very cliche, but they truly are customer first. And they're
Mm-hmm.
using more advanced techniques to understand their customer experience on a more scalable way, but also in a more continuous way. And you think about continuous and scalable across two dimensions. If you can achieve both of those with your research practice, it's going to allow your all the way from the CEO to the leadership team to the management team down to those making, those really designing and coding and building the future of the product to have so much more clarity, not only strategically, but also tactically about how they can drive their product forward. And so the teams that are able to achieve the scale and continuous research is really where we're seeing a strong correlation with those types of companies growing the fastest because they've been able to figure out some of the more advanced research techniques and really achieve both of those dimensions with their research.
Very cool. Thank you. You're very eloquent about that, and so I wanted to give that a moment. You know, the other thing I just wanted to say is that you've had Sprig now for 5 or 6 years, 6 years maybe, and just didn't know. There are a lot of things that you've been able to accomplish, and I didn't know if there's anything you're particularly proud of, or there's milestones or achievements you wanted to like acknowledge that Sprig now has this.
One of the things that we're really focused on right now is really being that unified survey platform. And so we're rolling out and announcing just in a couple of weeks a long form surveys product that takes those traditional Qualtrics and SurveyMonkey and Medallia surveys and really brings them up to speed for 2025. They're AI native, they have a modern user experience, they're intuitive, they're easy to use, and they're collaborative, and they really accelerate the work of research teams. And it's a big pain point we're hearing on the field from teams that these traditional survey tools have not kept pace with the other tools that they're using or observing in the engineering field. You're thinking about
Hmm.
Cursor and Windsurf,
Right.
Figma, you're thinking about how AI is accelerating the design space. And so, how can research also keep pace with how AI is accelerating our work? And so here at Sprig, how can we really bring a really modernize the traditional survey tool? And so that's something that we're rolling out right now, and I'm excited to work with companies that are looking for a next generation long form customer survey product to really level up their current tooling to something that is really built for today's teams.
Got it. And yes, being a someone who's had lots of experience with Qualtrics, I think there are opportunities to be even more advanced. So I'll leave it at that. But I guess and you're touching on this, and I wanted to talk sort of about the future. So both how you see Sprig evolving, and certainly you've touched on that just a moment there, and you mentioned that at least evaluating things like having AI you provide dynamic responses is something that you mentioned you're at least looking into, and sort of secondarily how because of these new abilities you see really product research evolving over the next while.
The AI is going to continue to really, we're going to continue to see innovation in the research field with AI. And I think the software engineering and coding category with Windsurf and Cursor, I think are great leading indicators for where it's going to go. They call it vibe coding for engineers. I think there's going to be vibe researching for researchers. And just because there's Cursor and Windsurf, it doesn't mean that the engineers are being replaced. It means that the engineers can accomplish far more with AI assistance. And so I think with research, we're going to see, the acceleration and the growing impact of research teams, touching, executive to tactical decision making and really providing the customer insights necessary to make informed decisions across organizations. And so I think with AI, we're going to see how research teams can grow their impact and they can do more, and the best companies will be continuing to grow their investment in research as well, so it'll be doing more with more. And that's what we're really seeing and observing the front lines of the fastest growing organizations is their research teams are doing more with more, and they're increasing their impact across the org as they figure out new innovative ways to apply AI to their work.
I think that's it's something that's actually hard for researchers before you really try these tools to fathom. I feel
Mm,
we at our company we've reduced our time by more than 80% in accomplishing completing a research project, and also now can do things internationally and globally, and so it's just both the scale and speed are both there, and then the scale that you can do analysis on is changing. So I so encourage everyone. I'm not going to say it's one and done, but rather that it's evolving and only getting better. So we need to keep learning these things. Well, great. It's been Truly a pleasure. And you're so thoughtful about your approach, and maybe that's a good reason why Sprig's so successful. But if people want to give it a try, how can they get started with Sprig?
So I always love to hear from folks and get started personally. So you're welcome to send me a LinkedIn DM or email me ryan@sprig.com. If you want to go through the front door, you can go to sprig.com, and we've got a button where you can schedule an introductory call with someone on our team. And there's also video tours available that you can get started with as well. And we also have a great way for folks to more casually explore the platform is our weekly group demo.
Hmm.
And so those are every Tuesday, and you can go ahead and sign up on our website, and we'd love to see you there.
Very nice. Well, Ryan, thank you again so much for sharing Sprig with us. And I'll just sign us off. So um, that's all for today. And so thank you so much for tuning in and keeping up with the latest on AI for research. And if you enjoyed this, please let us know other things you're interested in learning about Sprig or other products, and wishing you brilliant insights with AI. Thank you so much.